Team, I have a confession to make here on Clay and Buck. As you all know, I'm an engaged man, lovely Carrie, and sometimes I'm finding out in life, you got to make some compromises. You can't just do exactly what you want. So I can't just find the latest show about Vikings running around with their axes and hacking at evil villagers or whatever. We got to find something that we can both watch occasionally. Late at night, we finished all of our work and our workouts and cooking dinner, and you know how it is. This is a long preamble to tell you all that I did find myself in a position where for the health and growth of our relationship, we watched a little of the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry Netflix.
I told you this, Buck. I said you lived as a single man for 40 years. And you made fun of everybody out there who cared about the royals and all their drama. And that show has only been out for like 3 days, and already you're watching the Harry and Meghan special.
Look, Clay,
how many
I was
episodes
cornered.
did you watch?
I was
My
cornered.
understanding is there are 3.
I was deep behind enemy lines here. She makes great chocolate chip banana bread. I needed to, I had to do what I had to do, Clay. There was no way around it. She says, we're going to watch it. And so, anyway.
How many hours is this show, by the way? I don't know.
I literally watched it. We watched like the first, many episodes. It's like a multi-episode documentary. It is horrifically boring. But I'll point this out because, one, it's a huge phenomenon. There are tens of millions of people that are watching this. If you read the Daily Mail, which is one of my favorite news websites, it is the number one thing the Daily Mail is covering right now is all this, royal family drama. Just to be clear, I think the royal family, the British people should take themselves more seriously and the royal family should be abolished. That's my position. I still hold to that. But Clay, Andrew Tate, who is very well known for being booted off the internet, he's just kind of a self-help, and he's people have described him as
he was a UFC fighter initially, right?
That's
how he
it's like
if
Jordan Peterson was a UFC fighter and cursed a lot more, it might be a little bit like Andrew Tate. Here he is, though, speaking about the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry situation. We bleeped out some of the stuff, but this was the one and only Andrew Tate on the situation. Listen to this.
I'm not trying to make enemies, because trust me, I have enough. But I feel compelled to comment on this Meghan and Harry documentary. Why is nobody pointing out the obvious? As usual, Andrew Tate, the man who has to get canceled for saying water is wet, I'm just gonna say. The basic premise is that Meghan and Harry are innocent and the royal family is guilty and bullying them and picking on them, and that England as a whole has bullied them and picked on them. The reason being because they are racist. Why is nobody else saying that Meghan Markle isn't black? She's whiter than me. Not only is she whiter than me, she's whiter than the current Prime Minister of the UK. She's whiter than the Mayor of London. She's not even black. Why is nobody talking about this? The fact she's pulling the race card is absolutely and utterly insulting to every dark-skinned person who has ever genuinely suffered from racism ever.
Could we talk about this? Because
when we come back, we should talk about this. I'll tell you this, Buck. My 12-year-old, because I was asking you this off air, loves Andrew Tate. Watches all of his YouTube videos, is obsessed with him, has been saying to me, and he never says this, can you guys please get Andrew Tate on your radio show? He would be so good. And I asked you, would you be nervous if your 12-year-old was watching all the clips? There's a lot of cursing, but there are probably worse things he could be watching on YouTube.
I think a lot of the stuff he says, I put myself in the pro Tate category. I think a lot of the stuff he says is very valid and very worth hearing. So we'll have to put out the bat signal and get Andrew Tate to come on and join us at some point. We'll take that issue up in a second here of, really? Meghan Markle claiming racial grievance? This is interesting. We'll come back to that.
As we went to break, we were playing this Andrew Tate discussion about Meghan Markle. You were talking about this Netflix series that everybody is watching. It's certainly very popular. And this is the truth. What percentage of people?
They keep saying that there's all this racism against Meghan Markle. That's in the series. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but that's the big bombshell allegation.
Yes. So what percentage of people in England, if they hadn't been told Meghan Markle is part black, would have ever known Meghan Markle was black? And what kind of racism is she dealing with? When most of us think of racism, I'm not an expert, thankfully, but when most of us think of racism, we think of it as most basic level as you look like X, so I am going to treat you like Y. And it is a discriminatory behavior. But for Meghan Markle, you have no idea what her racial background might be, I don't think, just by looking at her. I would imagine that's true for most people in Britain as well. And so I think it is an interesting question because she is arguing that she's being treated unfairly because of her race in England. And I don't know that I buy into that argument at all.
I want to know in what way is that actually occurring? I mean, I would want some idea as to why they think that is the situation, other than, look, claiming this victimhood status is very popular for people to do as a general matter in the United States. Oh, I'm a victim. It's very popular to do in the UK as well. And celebrities, as we know, love to cling to it. I mean, people like Elizabeth Warren, right, pretended to be Native American,
yes,
because it was of particular benefit to her academically. And I just think it's interesting that we're supposed to believe that a person is experiencing acute and calling people racists, right?
Yes.
This is not calling somebody racist is meant to destroy their reputation, to cast them out from society, to do them serious psychological and reputational harm. That's what calling someone a racist, whether it's the royal family or your neighbor down the street, that's what it does. And to make that claim when you're somebody who I would not, I do not, does anyone look at Meghan Markle and immediately think that they would know, if she weren't constantly announcing and making claims about her heritage, what race she is? I think the answer would have to be no.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point too, Buck. And what I will bring home, because I am embarrassingly pretty well plugged in on the royal family for decades. This is embarrassing. But if you go back in time to when Prince William was dating Kate before they were married, she was ridiculed in the press because her mom, I believe, was a stewardess on an airline. And she was not, and I think I'm correct on this, she was not of royal lineage, right? She didn't have some extreme title. She didn't have some, she wasn't a duchess. She wasn't. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is there is I think, certainly, caste-based, class-based prejudice that exists inside of the royal family.
Well, yeah, that I can see.
In favor of royal titles, though, is what I'm saying. So how much of Meghan Markle's treatment is not based on her race, but it's based on the fact that she's just a middle-class American actress, right? Like, so in other words, if Meghan Markle was just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed star, and star is being exaggerated, she wasn't that high level of an actress, right? We're not talking about someone at the peak of Hollywood.
Yeah, she was on a USA show that I have never seen.
That I've never watched, right? So, but if you put her and you took away, like, okay, she is of mixed race heritage, whatever, and you made that the least race conscious, like a blonde hair, blue-eyed, exact same Meghan Markle, and Harry marries her, and she is a mid-tier at best American actress from a middle-class at best background, I think she'd probably get a lot of ridicule, because I'm old enough to remember when I was studying overseas in England, and when they were dating Prince William and Kate, she got roasted in the tabloids all the time because she wasn't of an elite enough class in some people's mind to have been dating William. And if that's the case for her, who is British and who has a family, I think, that was successful, then I would think that Meghan Markle, even if she were just no racial background other than a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, I would think she would have gotten lit up. And they lit up everybody, it seemed like, that Harry dated in general, including Harry himself, who, remember, Buck, Harry went to a Halloween party dressed as a Nazi soldier. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
So some of the things that Harry got criticized for, while they now are like, hey, this is really unfair criticism, if you're the second heir to the throne in England and you go to a Halloween party dressed as a Nazi soldier, I can see why the tabloids in England might have had a little bit of an issue with you. And certainly it appears he had a partying and alcohol background. I'm not judging that. Lots of people do. But it's very easy to claim victimhood. If you take a step back and look at their treatment, how much of it is just based on being famous and sometimes, certainly in the case of Harry, having done some dumb things when you were young?
Yeah, also, it seems to me to be a strange thing to marry into a royal family that lives a life of unearned luxury and finance. I mean, you know, to say that they are in a particularly privileged situation is an understatement. Things are so rough and you're so marginalized and things are so difficult that you get to become a princess and then complain about it all the time and then get to be worth tens of millions of dollars for whining about how hard everybody was on you when you became a princess. I mean, look, I'm not into all this. I was forced to watch.
You're now getting into it. It's the psychology of this, Buck, and I'll just point this out. She did a sit-down exclusive interview with Oprah Winfrey claiming that she was disgusted by her behavior from the royal family and that all she and Harry wanted was privacy. I believe they now have a 6-part Netflix series that seems like the opposite of requesting privacy. I'm just going to toss it out there. If I were like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of working. I've got to have way more privacy. My family, and this is obviously I'm not saying this, but if I did all that and then, Buck, a year later, there was like a 10-part Netflix documentary that came out about me, you'd be like, I don't know that I buy Clay wanting privacy.
I think that the royal family is preposterous and should have been abolished a long time ago, and it's hard to take the British people seriously as long as they still, at least the ones that think that this is important and should endure. That's my opinion as an American, which I'm allowed to say because I'm pretty sure we won a war, so we can say these things a long time ago. But beyond that, I mean, Meghan and Harry are horrible. That's really the real takeaway is they're just narcissistic and generally worthless to the public conversation.
Not only, Buck, did we win a war against them, we actually saved their entire country. So I think we can comment. By the way, our producer, Allie, this is good. She says they treated Princess Di the same way because Di was more of a commoner. And she says what a Meghan experienced, and I think this is a good diagnosis by Allie, is actually elitism, not racism. Well said. That's what I was trying to get at. She summed it up.